we go. 3, 2, 1.
I hope not. That'd be embarrassing.
Hey, everybody. This is Doug with 2 Plus Stuff. And I have with me here a very special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, Doug. I'm Donnie. I have a channel over on YouTube called Dice Chatter, where we do tabletop games, Warcry, some AOS as well, a little bit of D&D. But as of right now, the main focus is Warcry, and I believe that's what we're going to chat about today.
Yes, I wanted to chat with you because, frankly, you are technically the expert on YouTube, in my opinion, just by sheer amount of gameplay and that kind of stuff. So, and I do think
Experts are rough. Experts are rough. I don't believe an expert, but sure.
Yes. Well, you know, I don't believe that I'm a YouTuber, but I get called that all the time. So here we go. I'm sorry, I just had lunch and it's killing me. So anyway, the way this is going to work, it's going to be a very informal thing. We have a few talking points between ourselves. And do you mind if I call you Donnie? You want me to call you DC Dice Chatter?
Donnie's fine.
Okay.
DC, I don't really care. Just not any bad names, please.
Well, I only asked because I had Lore Master Sotek on here one time, and he just doesn't use humans' names. I was just like,
okay, sure.
He just kept calling me 2 Plus. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I just don't know your name either. Yeah, so
that makes sense.
Very informal hanging out type thing, and then we're gonna be painting some models in the meantime. So if you have a question, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Make sure you put either you at me or you put question in all caps just to help me see it. I'm pulling up the questions right now so that I can turn to the side here.
Yeah, I got the chat up too, so I can take a peek as well.
Sweet. Yeah, just go ahead and let us know if you have any questions. So go ahead, sir. Tell me about yourself. How'd you get into doing YouTube stuff?
Well, I guess it's sort of a shameless plug to you, Doug, but that's honestly because of you, as funny as that kind of is. So forever ago, I emailed you about your game mats.
Yes.
This is to give some background for the folks watching. And I asked you about the mats, how you produced them, how you made them. And that sounded like a pain in the butt to do any of that.
Yes, it was.
And I have as a kid, my brother and I and friends, we would make homemade videos and I'd edit them and he'd edit them. And I was like, why don't I just make YouTube content? Because I know how to edit videos roughly. And I started with that. I started with some just basic tabletop content, D&D stuff, AOS stuff. And then Warcry came out, early August, right? I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Last year, August. And I wanted to do something small. And I wanted to make some battle reports, so I started with that, and I don't know, people seem to like them. So,
yeah, and if anyone hanging out with us hasn't seen the battle reports, they really caught my attention because one, they're very I don't want to say short because they are shorter than the 45-minute battle reports on some other.
I'm not offended by that.
No, but I want to say condensed because you actually put a lot of information. At any given point, I know what's going on, which is it's a weird thing about battle reports where you can talk for 2 hours and still people have no idea what the heck is going on.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I thought that was actually, it's a really great testament to just your editing skills and the narration and that kind of stuff. So absolutely go check out his channel. I completely forgot to leave a description link below, but I will absolutely do it.
You can do it in a minute. Who cares? Thanks, Doug.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's good stuff.
Well, I'm glad you like them. To be honest, it's one of those things, YouTube's that weird place where you try to get all the subs, you try to get all the likes and all that stuff, but it really comes down to I enjoy making those reports, so I'm going to do it no matter what, if people like them or not. So,
and I think that's the perfect attitude to have. I'm sorry. We have a ton of friends who are they get upset that oh, my YouTube channel is not having much success. This video got very few views, and my question to them is always the same. It's just what do you want out of this? Because if you're just doing it to enjoy yourself, it shouldn't matter. But if you want to do it you want to be a YouTuber, we can talk about that. You know what I mean? There's strategies and that kind of thing.
It takes time if you really want to do that, anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Doug, I'm sure when you first started, it wasn't oh, hey, here's 20,000 subs.
No, I remember.
It took multiple years and effort and all that stuff.
Yeah, my wife and I went out and had ourselves a big celebratory dinner when I hit 300.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was back when everybody hated AOS, and it was a real struggle.
Yeah, I joined after that. So I joined when it started really getting picked up, and like essentially when rerolling ones once they started making content, that's really when I started getting into it.
I taught them everything they know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They need you, Doug. They need you.
Exactly. No, they're doing great. They're on their own. They don't ride my coattails, even though Mark says that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, then you have me here who's actively doing exactly what you just said.
What, ride your coattail? No.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why I'm here. That's why you invited me.
Nah. So, let's talk about this. So, actually, this is a good transition to my starting stuff. Why Warcry? Because you mentioned D&D and AOS stuff. Like, what was it about Warcry that kind of drew you in?
Oh, that is a good one. I guess it's a combination of the new hype at the time and just where I wanted to go with the channel. Overall, what I want to do with my channel is, well, create content that people enjoy, as well as like starting community. Obviously, it's taking time, and that's not a stressful thing. But I chose Warcry because it's not that AOS is saturated, but there's a lot of good channels out there that anyone can find and do, like yours, rerolling ones, and mini wargaming, all those guys out there. I'm missing 40,000, but
Right, exactly, yeah.
it's and D&D take that and times it by 20 in terms
Absolutely.
of saturation.
Yep.
So I'm like, why don't I go for the new little hotness and see if I can pick some folks? And turns out the game's freaking awesome, and I love playing it, and that's really about it.
Okay.
If that made any sense.
No, it absolutely. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like whenever a new game comes out, especially one that's by Games Workshop, where there's going to be some fan hype that just people buy it just because they like it or they like the company. That like it's a great onboarding space for YouTubers, because it's like, okay, everyone's hyped. All you got to do is start producing content, and people will just accidentally think that you're an expert, and you're just like, yeah,
get something out before it even comes out, and then
exactly, speculation video.
Oh, it's gonna be the Iron Golems, or they're gonna be so good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name now. There's another YouTuber. I was on his channel just interviewing that kind of. He interviewed me, but he did that. He was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna take on Warcry," and he just. It was all just speculation. I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't speculate. I just like, how do you think that's gonna work with these guys? Neither of them are out yet, bro.
Just wait until it gets in my hands, and then I can tell you my super unprofessional opinion.
Exactly.
Because you got to think about it this way: if we were professionals on this subject, we probably wouldn't have YouTube channels.
Exactly.
Because we dedicate more time into the actual game.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, people beat me all the time in AOS, and they're like, "Wow, that was actually kind of
easy."
Yeah. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's because I spent all my time editing videos. I don't actually play this game." What are you talking
Exactly.
about? I am a free win at any event.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's funny.
Okay, right on.
Probably look at questions.
Yes, I've been keeping a loose eye on it here right next to me. Question: with the release of the second wave of AOS factions, are core warbands going to still be viable, i.e., still fun to play and not get stomped?
So, I have played, again, by myself, one game with the teaser cards against a warband that was released. So, essentially, I'll give it away now. My next battle report's going to be Ogre Maw Tribes versus Iron Jaws. I won't spoil the end, but you can probably guess with what I'm about to say how it went. Maw Tribes are fantastic, and they seem, I don't want to say overpowered, because that's a strong word that people like to throw out before the game's even put into place.
Yeah.
But they seem very strong, and looking at some of the other teaser cards, there are some guys that, points-wise and stats-wise, it just seems like, oh, okay, sure. I'll take a Rat Ogre for the same price as an Ogre Breacher, when his stats are significantly better, but...
Yeah, it's tough. Part of me wishes that they had just like kind of. If you ever played, do you ever play Mortime when it was out?
No, I did not play Mortime. No.
Okay. So basically, like the first page of the entire rulebook, and it was a huge rulebook, was just this is a narrative game. You can play it as a one-off, but it's not really fun. You should have fun this way, and they would like tell you this is a narrative game.
This is how you should have fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's like, it's. I think it's more. This is how we design the game to be fun, rather than this is how you have fun. And
Exactly.
so, campaign play is very different. And I feel like they kind of came up with their 3 ways to play a couple years ago, and now that's just the default model for everything. But
100% agree. Yep.
I think that there was real value in saying like, no, 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 this is what we designed it to be. Like, it could just be that. So yeah, my point being that like, I don't think that the existing AOS factions are necessarily balanced against the Chaos ones that were released. But if you play it as a narrative experience with very asymmetrical rules and objectives and that kind of stuff, I think you can still have a lot of fun.
I agree. I mean, obviously, you and I are not power gamers by
No.
any means. Also, I don't like using that term either, but we're not super competitive. I'm more narrative based, despite my videos not going too much narrative based. I'm more relaxed on my play, just have some fun. So if you want to put your your underrated splintered fangs against the brand new hotness and get whomped, but you still enjoy yourself, then who cares?
Oh yeah. And it's funny because everyone has different stories because in Warcry, like a lot of skirmish games, because everything is like action and reaction, like you move one troop and then the other guy moves a troop and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to pin down sometimes how good something truly is. Like, I get my teeth kicked in with my Corvus Cabal every time, but I play them every time because they're bird people and I like them.
Yeah, and they look awesome.
But then I go online and they're like, wow, these guys are so OP, alpha striking BS. I'm like, how? Why do they get to win?
Doug, I swear you and I have the same exact experiences.
Yeah. So it's
because either we're playing different scenarios that everyone else is playing, or I have no idea. But
yeah, and then like other people have come up with like, oh, if you want to like optimize stuff, you should put these types of units in the shield and these types of units in the hammer. And I'm just like, I just divided my army into 3 groups, like straight up divide by 3. So
yeah, it's like I don't feel like spending another $50 just to get like one more pure blood or something like that. It's like, okay.
But on the topic of the AOS armies that have come into Warcry versus the Warcry warbands, one thing that was brought up that I thought was an interesting point was that with the Warcry warbands, you buy the one box, and that's what you play a lot of times. Like for a lot of folks,
Yep.
If you really love them, you'll buy more boxes,
2 or whatever. Yeah.
So you can have all the build options. But for people who come from AOS to play Warcry, they already have this full spread of models to be able to list build. And that kind of changes things. So like a singular Warcry warband box, no, it is not the equivalent of someone who takes the time to list build. You know what I mean? Like it's functional.
Yeah, it's almost like a different game, essentially. Not a different game, but like a different way to start, essentially.
Yeah, and so I think there's some aspect of that that's true, where it's like, okay, well, they just, by virtue of owning that army in AOS, you have access to more options, and those options really do matter. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that because, I saw a lot of spoils recently, and it's like, cool, I have almost all the Beast of Chaos guys. I have almost all the Ogre Maw Tribes guys. I have a lot of the Skaven guys. It's like, man, that was quick. That was easy. And essentially, you feel like you're not paying any money because you already own these armies.
Yep.
Your effort to get in the game, which I guess this is another talking point, the effort to get in the game if you already have an AOS army is essentially nothing.
Yep.
Maybe just buy the cards and flip a couple of them,
Totally. And so, yeah, I do think that there's an aspect of, I think that they were developed with different mindsets, and there is some balance issues, but I don't think it's necessarily all like just the cards and the points. I think there's an aspect of like how people collect them and start playing them. Let's see here. That was that question.
Man, Doug, how do you keep up with this crap, man?
What, the questions?
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Usually, several times in a chat, I will ask people, hey, if I didn't answer it, ask it again. Cold Shoulder, 2+ stuff. What Infinity faction are you painting up? This is U.S. Ariadna. I like them. They're cool. And I've never painted like military colors like they're like a true scale model before. They're fun. Let's see. Doug, what is your favorite skirmish game at the moment, and would you recommend to someone the most fun for casual fun? Oh, would you... Hold on a second. That was a little awkward to read. And would you recommend to someone the most for casual fun to pair with AOS? Oh, definitely Warcry. If you're asking what skirmish game do I like the most that pairs well with AOS, definitely Warcry, because you've probably already got an army. How about you, sir? What do you enjoy in skirmish game-wise? Besides, I mean, if there's anything else that you play besides.
I mean, as of now, it would be Warcry.
Yeah.
I've like barely dabbled with Kill Team. I like it, but I just don't have the models for it. Otherwise, I'd probably be playing that too. And honestly, Warcry. Warcry is simple.
Yeah. And I'm somebody like I am in love with skirmish games right now. I've had the hardest time getting the motivation to go play a full game of AOS lately. Just
Yeah, I've been like trying to. It's one of like my resolutions is to try to go to the store more and like actually get in games. And even then, you're like, okay, I got a 30-minute drive to the store. I got to put all my models in my little toolbox. I got to bring them.
Yep.
It's a pain.
And you got to set up everything. You got to tear everything right back down.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I get it. So Davis, man, I think we're both pretty much. If you're talking anything related to AOS, because the only other thing really would be Underworlds, and you either like trading collectible card games or not trading cards, but collectible card games, or you don't, and that's a heavy feature in that one.
Underworlds, I feel like I could really get into because I used to play Magic and all that stuff, but I kind of need someone to play with, and getting like a couple of buddies of mine, like, hey, how about you buy these super expensive models and paint them? It's like, it's like, all right, then I'll just paint them. But it's
a selling point.
I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that.
Yep. Father knows best. I missed your question earlier, but he asks, is there one Warcry faction you're just not interested, and why?
Ooh. You answer that first, Doug, while I think.
Okay. For me, so I'm going to exclude the ones that we don't have cards for yet.
Okay, that's a good one.
So the existing ones that I have no interest in playing, I'm going to say I like all the Chaos Warbands. I'm going to say Splintered Fang. It just doesn't grip me aesthetically.
You don't like snakes, Doug?
No, I like snakes. They're fine.
Indiana Jones.
I don't really get them as pets, but I don't mind them.
That's one of my more favorite ones, Doug. You're killing me right now.
Oh man.
I don't care. That's fine. I'd say out of the original 6 Chaos Warbands, the one aesthetically, and generally I go off aesthetically, is mine is Cypher Lords. I don't know. I get why they're cool, but I don't know. Aesthetically, I'm just not a huge fan.
That's fair. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, I think we're both in the same boat as far as like kind of leans more towards aesthetics, because I feel like, I don't know, we were talking earlier about like people online having way success with stuff that we can't figure out, and it's like I just feel like you can make it work if you want it to, but if you don't love the models, there's just not really much of a point. So
I agree. Like, I won't enjoy painting them, so it's like, unless I think of like a weird scheme that nobody's ever done, but like that, like you're gonna figure that out.
Shut that down. Nobody's a snowflake.
Yep. Okay. Nobody in this game, especially now with like everyone posting their stuff on Reddit and Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff. It's like you're gonna find a scheme that someone has already done.
Let's see. Paul Revere asks, how disappointing is the Sarafan release? It's not. I'm hyped. You should be hyped too.
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not a Sarafan collector, but it would be nice for them to get a couple new models. But they still might. You never know. So,
honestly, I don't think they will, and I'm still hyped.
I don't think they will either. But I'm trying to be slightly GW optimistic, but I haven't been tortured enough yet.
Oh yeah,
for my armies personally to be super pessimistic about GW yet.
You and I are what is that meme where it's like one guy, they both have nooses around their neck and one guy's worried and the other guy goes first time. Like that's it. That's us right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Question: Who's looking forward to the Wrath the Ever-Chosen campaign book? Me, certainly. I'm very excited. Have not gotten my copy yet. GW said they were going to send me one early, but sometimes mail takes a little bit longer. T plus stuff. What is your thoughts on the Spire Tyrants? I'm going to open that up to both of us because he was just adding me to get attention. But what do you think of the Spire Tyrants? I haven't seen their cards yet, just the models, so I don't have a whole lot.
I like barely peeked over their abilities. I can't recall off the top of my head. I think the models are cool, but for me,
I like that question mark at the end of that.
I like maybe one or two of the models. Yeah. Like, they just seem... Okay, so Slave to Darkness, they get new models. Those models are amazing. The sculpts are...
Yep.
They look great. The poses they're in are fantastic. You would kind of think they do the similar thing with the Spire Tyrants, but they're pretty standard, and the only cool guy in there is the Bestigor. Also, I have an affinity to like Beasts of Chaos, so maybe I'm a little biased there, but the other guys are just pretty bland. It's just like everyone wearing dominatrix outfits, and that's really about it. Yeah, but that's my fast opinion about it.
Now, they're supposed to be like pit fighters, right? Is my understanding?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I guess my overall thing is, yeah, I think they're cool. Will I get them? Probably not. I mean, I already have so many other warbands right now that, adding another one in.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a pain.
Yeah, I don't... I like them. I think I like the models a little bit more than you, but I just... something about them, I don't want to rush out and go get them. I don't know what it is. I just have no interest in being like that. There's no urgency. I don't love them so much that I'm like, oh, I want to play with that. I'm just like, I'll probably get that eventually.
Like, they haven't teased anything for the Science of Flame, but just their name makes me already want to get them.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
If you haven't seen the outline of the Science of Flame in the core book, where he has like a big fire sensor on his back, I'm like, okay, that sounds awesome.
I imagine these guys like chucking fireballs and being like these cool like chaotic mages and priests. I'm like, all right, I don't even care what they look like. I'll probably go out and buy those guys unless the sculpts are just god awful. But that's what I'm excited for, I guess I'd say.
Fair enough.
And I don't even know what they look like.
Nope. Let's see. Kinsey, when are we reviewing Warcry Anthology? Thursday or Sunday? Thursday. Donald, in regards to the AOS factions added to Warcry, are you excited to make a warband with a lot of conversions? Have you done any conversions, Donnie?
No. They're tough. They're tough to convert. I mean, I think people already generally know this. Like, for example, the Untamed Beasts, they have a rope connecting from like a hand to a hip to like legs. I can't remember. So it's like, all right, so I cut off these legs and then I cut off this hand. But I'm not a huge converter anyways. The most I'll really convert is maybe like switching a head here and there or like switching out a weapon.
Yeah.
I generally stay on the sides of what GW has already created, and that's generally what I'll go for. But so no, nothing yet. But maybe if I get it like another box of a warband that I already have, I could screw around with it. But what about you, Doug?
My thing with conversions is I only buy a model if I like what the model is. And so, like, again, I like what GW does, so I buy the model. When it comes to conversions, most of the time, the reason I would convert something is because I want to have two of the same unit, but I don't want them to look the exact same.
Especially for, like, a skirmish game like this, where you have, 3 purebloods that are the exact same model, pretty much.
Exactly. So, I haven't run into that. I'm going to, because I'm going to expand my Untamed Beasts here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to find different ways to do stuff with the kitty cat and that kind of thing, but haven't had an opportunity yet where it's really come up.
Ooh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
That I just thought of. What warband, when the game first came out, were you super excited about, or if this has even happened to you, but you just haven't gotten around to even like doing anything with them? Like painting them or getting them or doing anything?
Ooh. No, I can't think of their name, but the blissful one, tall guy on stilts.
Oh, Unmade.
Unmade. I don't know why.
Yep.
I don't know why I can think of the big unit, but not the actual aim of the army.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't touched or done anything with them whatsoever. Haven't even bought the kits, but I really do like them.
Yeah.
And their
Yeah, I
story in
have
the
my
Warcry anthology is sick.
yeah, it's kind of terrifying, not gonna lie. I mean, in a good way. Because GW, I feel like people take them way too seriously.
Oh
Because
yeah.
all their stuff is filled with jokes everywhere. Like
Yep.
literally, these people chop their legs and arms off and put weapons on them. That's kind of it's it's super creepy and kind of demonic, but it's also kind of hilarious that like, how is
Mm-hmm.
this guy gonna wipe his butt? You know, and you
Well,
know they thought about that.
yep. Well, that's the thing. So like, it was the point was made on another podcast. I think it was Legends of the Painting Men, where it's like,
Yes, those guys. Oh my god, I love
yeah,
those
you think
guys.
about British humor, like
Uh-huh.
it's the apocalyptic stuff of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
Hmm.
and it's just that, but everything's just ridiculous, and it's supposed to be funny. But Americans are like, "What's the lore of this apocalyptic event?" And we want it
Yeah.
all like dissected and stuff like that. And you're like, no.
Also, for anyone who hasn't listened to Legends of the Painty Men, like on your drive to work or whatever, those guys are hilarious. Definitely not safe for work, but
No,
check them out.
no, it's two comedians, John Roy and Andrew DeWitt, and they both play AOS, and it's awesome.
It's hilarious. I started listening to it a while ago. I know we're going way off topic
No,
now,
you're
but
fine. Go
like,
for it.
but it made me so much happier that like there's a couple of guys out there that kind of feel the same way I feel about all these little super overpriced plastic games that we play. It's like you got to take a little bit of humor into it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Chris Ashworth, question: what is the etiquette for asking to meet a well-known YouTuber who will be visiting your country in a few months? The etiquette? I mean, if it was me, I'm not leaving the country anytime soon, but just shoot him a message. Whatever way they like to communicate, just shoot him a message. That's it. Just don't be creepy. I'm looking for questions here. Cold Shoulder, I like Infinity, but I dislike the art of the boxes. Don't always match the miniatures. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that happens, you know. I dislike how every unit in AOS is unbeatable, and then most of them just evaporate. um, Here's one we can both answer. What is the best and easiest army to paint in the AOS or 40k universes for a total mini painting beginner?
Squigs.
You think squigs?
Just squigs.
Oh, like literally just
Just squig.
Ooh,
I mean, for Warcry, you do a couple goblins and a bunch of squigs. There you go. You got your army.
that is technically true. That is that. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct, my friend. If you're going 40k, Necrons or Grey Knights. I would urge Grey Knights for painting because there's more stuff to learn on. You can learn how to do like paper and scrolls, but both of those are literally just buy the lead belcher spray paint, wash them with some Nuln oil, and you got yourself a fully painted army. The other one, let's see, in AOS land, what's the easiest thing to paint in AOS? Stormcast can also be that simple.
I was going to say Stormcast too.
Yeah, just hose them down with Retributor armor.
They're also good for even the experienced painter too. They have a lot of flat plate or flat, like shoulder pads and things like that, where you can practice like wet blending and all that other fun stuff that I'm not good at.
Yeah, the stuff that I don't do, but I've heard about.
Yeah, the stuff exactly. Yeah,
Trello YouTube tutorials. Yes, yes.
exactly. I watch Vince or Miniac or someone else do. It's like, all right, you guys take it. I don't need to do that.
Exactly. Thanks for it's kind of like when you look at those ridiculous cooking recipes on like YouTube or Instagram or whatever. You're like, wow, that looks amazing. I am never cooking that.
Yeah, exactly. Like 30-minute prep time. No, that's way too long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Other AOS armies that are super.
Nurgle too. Someone just Pedro just mentioned Nurgle.
Yeah, Nurgle can be easy. Plus, Nurgle gets what's called the Nurgle bump, where you can make a few mistakes and no one will ever notice because it's supposed to look sloppy. And there's some real value to that.
Yeah, it's a good way to learn too, because like not all your guys are going to look the exact same. Like if you're doing Nurglings or something like that.
Yep. Let's see. I'm just following for questions. A lot of people responded to that painting one. Acrylic Chemist, when I paint today, some US Ariadne for Infinity. I'm not sure if Night Haunt are the easiest to paint. I struggle.
I mean, you could do the Primum White and just throw a couple washes on them, kind of thing.
That's true.
But I would kind of agree with you. Maybe if you had an airbrush, but also then if you're having an airbrush and you're starting an army, you probably already are a decent painter, or at least know sort of what you're doing.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what's up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be my suggestions there. So I'll tell you what. Go ahead.
But obviously, if that person who I forgot who asked, if they're just starting the game, pick what you think is cool and don't worry about how hard or difficult they are to paint, because you will learn and get better over time.
Absolutely. And one thing that I love that GW has done is, like, with the second edition books on, they've really, I think, re-emphasized like the painting tutorials in battle tomes. Like, they existed in the earlier ones, but the Tzeentch one in this last book, like, I had no intention of playing Tzeentch. I'm looking at these tutorials. I'm like, these look freaking dope. Like, and nice. So they were just so well done. They've started integrating like contrast paint tutorials and that kind of stuff, and it all looks awesome.
Sucks for those earlier books.
Yeah. Well, I think we're almost done with them now.
Yeah. What? Well, there's Sarafan, and then what? Maybe Nurgle. Maybe. Why can't I think of Nagash?
These are Nagash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are both technically second edition books, but yeah, they were the first ones. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they stop with new battle tomes and just focus on campaign stuff
new
like
stuff.
With this. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, like the Wrath of the blah 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 Everchosen book coming out somewhat soon. That should be exciting too.
Yeah, it goes on pre-order this weekend.
Nice.
Okay, so I got you.
Yeah, maybe back to Warcry. We've been so off topic this whole time.
No, it's cool. It's cool. This whole thing was intended just to be a hangout because I wanted to, frankly, share your channel because I think you're awesome. You do good stuff. So.
Oh well, thank you, Doug.
Aw.
Aw, shucks.
Yeah, I know. So I'll try to work more on the camera. Sorry. It just occurred to me when I tend to like hunch up when I'm painting details. I don't know if you do the same thing.
I've done a couple like painting videos or whatever. God, I don't know how like normal painter YouTubers do it, because I tend to hold things either close or like weird awkward position under the light, and you're trying to like fit a camera there, and you're like, nobody's gonna see anything I'm doing right now.
Yep, exactly. Y'all keep talking about models, and I'm over here trying not to start a second army. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's the. Have you found yourself wanting to buy new armies and warbands just because you make content?
Yes, 100%.
It's the curse. It's
if I never started YouTube, I'd probably have like an army and a half. And this is counting AOS, because AOS, okay, I'll say for Warcry, warbands are easier to come across.
Oh yeah.
You can kind of buy one for $50 and you're generally pretty good. For AOS, I'm not like you, Doug. I can't get rid of an army.
Oh no.
I'd feel too bad. So I'm sitting at like awkwardly like 4.5, but they're all like 1,000 points and not much higher.
No.
Ibisa Chaos is big though.
If you love it, let it go, my friend. I'm just kidding. You do whatever you want.
No, I can't do that. I can't do what you do. But yeah, if it wasn't for making reports and things like that, oh man, I would have probably got the Warcry starter set, definitely.
For
but
sure.
Other than I maybe would have got like a different warband.
Yeah.
But that's really about it.
Fair enough. What have you been playing lately? Like, what is your favorite warband to play? Let's put it that way. Real simple.
It used to be Splintered Fangs, because they had a double ability that was dope. But now I played Maw Tribes, and they're fun. They have the Lead Belcher leader who just fires a cannon of death. It's awesome. Okay. But yeah, Maw Tribes are great. Also, the models are great. When the Feast of Bones set came out, I got that too. I got a little bit of Bone Reapers too. So
Right
a lot
on.
of exciting stuff to come out. What about you, Doug? What's your favorite? Because I feel like my favorite to play is different than my favorite aesthetically.
Actually, mine is too. What's your favorite aesthetically?
Uh, favorite
You
man.
said that with excitement. Now I feel like I caught you off guard.
No, you did, and that's okay. Well, I think it was changed. I think my favorite aesthetically was Splintered Fangs, and I like playing with them. I think because I just played with them the most. But now,
Yeah.
since I barely touched ogres, I'm like, all right, these big tubby boys are great.
Fair enough. My favorite aesthetically is Corvus Cabal.
Oh
Um,
man, why didn't I say that? Yeah, the birds are great.
yeah. My favorite that I've had as a playing experience, Bone Splitters. Bone Splitters
Bone
are
splitters.
so freaking cool in Warcry. It's not even a joke. Have you tried them?
I haven't tried them because I've debated about getting them, but it's hard to. I can't just buy one box and be like, all right, I have what I need.
Why not?
Actually, let me think about that. The
Every
what's the
single
main
thing
bone?
in the Bone Splitters arsenal comes in a single box with 20 bodies to do.
Is it
You
40
can,
bucks?
yep, something like that. You can build
Does
every
it come
option.
with the big stabbas
Yes.
by chance? Okay, maybe
Yeah,
I
it
will
comes
go
with
for
enough to
that.
build two of them.
Because I got an Iron Jaws army that I'm one start collecting box away from 1500, and those stupid guys holding sticks for AOS are amazing.
Oh, are they?
I think so. I don't know. I watched like a battle report with them, and they
Oh
did
wait,
really well
do you
against
mean the Bone Splitters who hold sticks or Iron Jaws
the
units?
Bone Splitters who hold sticks.
Oh man, they're killer.
Yeah, the what are they called? Big Stabbas? Stabbas? I don't remember.
Yep, Steps.
They all sound the same because
They
they
kind of
all
do.
are
Yeah,
the
I'll give you that one.
same.
It's a very samey army. I'll give you that. But
Well, now you're inspiring me to spend more money, Doug. So thanks.
yeah, no problem. I have received many an email of people complaining about that I do that to them.
Someone can send me a box, but I'm not giving my address to anyone. So there you go.
Yeah, if you can hunt him down and then
Yeah, if you
deliver a
can find me,
package. Yep.
you can send me a box.
Uh, yeah. So it's no, they're cool. Like their double ability to like do the charge thing, like Iron Jaws can, and they got some other tricks to like increase their toughness. I don't know. I like them. They're my favorite to play for sure because they're so
What's their
aggressive.
What's their basic movement? Is it 3 or 4?
I think it's 4.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, I remember them being a little bit faster than Iron Jaws.
Yeah, Iron Jaws they're terribly slow. I love the Iron Jaws, but I have not done well with them at all. It's probably just the scenarios and objectives, but
It makes a big difference for sure.
yeah, oh for sure.
Like we had this thing. We're doing a local league, and we ran into an issue where it's like, okay, the Iron Jaw needs to get on top of this building, but the brute literally does not have enough movement. And they were like asking me how to get up there. I'm like, just put him up there. Just say, you know what I mean? Like, just put the dude up there so you can play the game.
Exactly, yeah. Or I tried using a Mega Boss. He's got that 50 mil base,
Yep.
and I even had a board that was pretty open, and I'm like, I can't get this guy anywhere.
No.
It sucks.
Like Fat Albert trying to like barrel
Yeah,
down the
exactly,
street,
yeah.
can't get any there.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey. It's pretty
So
funny.
it's it could be a little bit rough. You got to play it by ear with them a little bit when it comes to the movement.
I agree.
That's all right. Let's see. What do you think would be a good faction? Actually, let me just back it up a little bit. If somebody wanted to get into Warcry, how would you recommend they start at this point?
Are we saying they have a warband or they don't have a warband? Or like have they picked one out or anything like that, or do they have a
They're just
model?
like, hey, this sounds cool.
I would say bare minimum, core book, and just a box of whatever Chaos Warband you think is the coolest. I think you can easily get away with that, especially if you like go to a local shop or something or an LGS. And especially if you have a GW nearby you, they're gonna have the game. They're gonna have it set up. They're gonna have the terrain painted.
Totally.
You can go there and play. If not, I also think Toma Champions is great as well too, as I'm sure you'll get into as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need much compared to AOS. Your price to get in is about probably a fifth.
Yeah, that's probably about right. It depends on if you. The only thing that would make it above the 5th mark is if you have to be the one to supply the terrain.
Yeah, that I guess that's the only thing. If you have a buddy that already has all that stuff, boom, you're set. But I don't know. Honestly, terrain you can use anything. You can go around and get Legos that you know have had in your basement for 12 years.
That's true. Do you when you do your battle reports, how do you like? Do you choose the terrain layout? Do you make your own? Do you use the cards?
I will actually flip the cards. There are very few times where I'll flip a card. I'll generally flip the cards first off camera, so I at least know what the hell I'm doing. But generally, if I flip a card, and it's usually a victory card, and it's something like this wouldn't be good. As in, like, this game will either go on for 4 minutes, or this game will go on for 30, and I don't really want to play a 30-minute game, because that's way too much editing for me.
Yep.
Other than that, yeah, I generally just flip the cards and I play with how it is.
Okay. So the one battle report that I did, I just very much curated it to like, this is the specific thing that we are doing.
Oh, I love that thing. That was great. I loved your battle report.
Oh,
I like the little blood splatter animations. Those are great.
Oh yeah, it's funny because like it allowed me to try different effects that I have on my computer, and I was like, yay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Crown Royal question. Got back into the hobby after 20 years with Sarafan. I see Warcry has introduced them for the upcoming book. When should we expect rules? I don't know, like a date, but they are coming. So be excited. Because I'm also
there's a lot of warbands still coming. So.
Yeah, because they announced 15 or 16 and they gave us card packs for 9 already. So the second wave is what I'm more excited for because I want my Maggotkin.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I'm sure they'll do all the blight stuff, plague bearers, all that stuff too. I wonder if they'll divide it up, as in kind of what they did with Tzeentch, with the Tzeentch cards. They did like the mortals and then the demons.
Yeah, did they? Do you remember if they put the Sphinx up for pre-order, the monster you can get?
No, I think it's just the Ogroid, the Urgermerg
Thermaturge. Yes. Okay, so I'm assuming they'll do another wave where it's the Sphinx and then the rest of the cards.
If I could guess, and this is a huge speculation, they'll do the next wave when they're coming out with the next Warcry book. That's a huge guess, but I have no idea.
Yeah. Here's a question I need you to answer. Question: can my Ma Tribe buddy really get excited for ogres now that are they good in the game now? Are ogres good in Warcry? Basically, is what he's asking.
Yeah, that Leadbelcher leader can wipe off an Ardboy in one shot, or well, 2 shots. So it's awesome. Use them; they're great. I painted up some Noblar specifically just to fill out points. They're an elite army, definitely. So you're gonna have a few models. You don't need a lot. You could probably just buy a box of Gluttons and maybe some Leadbelchers, and you're pretty much set.
There you go. There you go. Our resident Ma Tribe expert, meaning he's at least seen the information that I have not.
I played it once, and I'll have a video about it. Coming Tuesday.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. Can confirm Doug makes me want to spend lots of money. Okay, I'm falling behind here on the chat. I'm scooting forward a little bit. If I missed your question, go ahead and ask it again. Oh, another question here. What is the channel of the guest? It is Dice Chatter, which actually I'm going to pause here and I will see if I can update the text in the description. So for anyone who's joins us later, they can see it. Hopefully that'll
In the meantime, I'll try to answer a question or two.
Yeah, go for it.
What is the... Oh, yeah, someone already did that. Yeah. Did you guys see the Slaves to Darkness cards, the STD cards, or the S2D, the appropriate name to say?
Yes.
I barely peeked at them, so I couldn't give a good opinion about it.
No,
so sorry about that.
I tend to not, frankly, look at things before they're out, just because there's a lot of like knee-jerk reactions, and it's like I don't want to. Nope.
Oh, I'm slightly nervous that because to play and make that battle report, I had to look at the look at the new ogre cards that people leaked out. So those better be right, or I'm not putting that video up.
Oh, I'm sure it's accurate. I just
100%. But it's like there's like a slight little tinge in the back of my head that's like
yeah.
someone's messing with you. It's like, oh no.
Okay, so I just put Donnie's link to his channel in the description below. So if you want that, go ahead and just refresh the page, and you should see it. So anyway,
Thanks, Doug.
oh yeah, no, I intended to. I didn't even think about it. I was running behind. Let's see. 2+ stuff. Ogre cards this Saturday or next? I think it's it's this Saturday, isn't it? Tomorrow?
Yeah, it's this Saturday. I'm going out to the shop. Tomorrow? Tomorrow at noon to get all my stuff.
Yeah. So you're set tomorrow. Go check them out. And honestly, for anyone who, if you have even the faintest desire, maybe one day that you might think you want to play a faction in Warcry, buy the cards now because they are limited, and they did not tell us that the first time.
I wonder if I assume they're limited again this time. I bought all the ones that I know I own or have models for, just because, like you said, they're going to go away.
Yep. And I mean, that's fine. It would have been nice for better customer communication, but...
Yeah, but, we can talk all day about that.
I know, yeah. But the idea of them being limited is not a problem. It's fine. Let's see. Dustin E. asks... Sometimes you get stuff early, right? Yes. Do you ever see people speculating on stuff that you want to correct, but you can't for another 2 days because of NDAs? All the time! Oh, my favorite is internet personalities who will extrapolate to a great degree on how broken something is, and then you will see them ask on social media, hey, can I get the points for stuff? Somebody who has the book early, and you're like, you were making all these proclamations and you don't even know, like... so...
Just don't pay attention to that stuff.
I really struggle. But, yes. But, honestly... The thing is that because I live in the Pacific Northwest over here by Seattle, I tend to get my stuff, like, right before the NDA lifts. So I don't have time to, like, really read through the book, anything like that. Like, I didn't even get a message, I don't think, that my book came in today, which is when it was supposed to, so I'll probably get it on Monday. After the NDA lifts, and, the cherry's been popped on the information. Doesn't really matter anymore. But, so most of the time it's not an issue. I just don't have the stuff anyway. Let's see. Donald, did you already paint up your starter terrain, or did someone do it for you? I'm having a hard time building momentum to build and paint it all. Do you mean the Warcry? I'm assuming you mean Warcry starter terrain. We'll do that. Have you built yours up?
Donald, you have a good name. Oh, anyways, when I got that kit, because you want to hop on that YouTube hype when it came out.
Oh yeah.
Ran out to the shop, got it that day. I think I built it all that day and painted it in 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
Because
it took me forever. It was like I don't know.
Doug, I was on a mission.
I felt like I was like redeeming myself from some great sin I could committed earlier in life. I don't know, man. It was rough.
In regards to other terrain, though, no. I've done like some of the Shattered Stormvault terrain. I haven't finished all of it, but I've done most of it. But I think Rerolling Ones did actually a really good video about how to paint their terrain real quick. Essentially, just using rattle can and all that stuff. I did a little tiny video about Warcry terrain as well. But
yeah. So yeah, I did paint all of mine. It took me a long time. I think I had, because I get excited about, the thing about terrain for me is that I don't feel like I'm accomplishing something. Like I like looking back and be like, okay, my Infinity stuff right here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 models. Boom. I feel like I've accomplished something with 8 models when I put that last guy down. With terrain, I don't get that same sense of like completion.
I can agree with you on that. Also, at least me, I put models in a display case. So then you walk over to that display case and you get that little hit of satisfaction.
I should do that.
Terrain, you generally just throw it back in the box.
Yep. Yep.
and then it doesn't fit in the box, and you get frustrated. But you know,
I know. I actually I had an old army transport case that I had no use for, and it was just sitting there. And I was like, I bet you could just jam a bunch of this terrain in there. And so yeah, I have all of the Warcry core set in one, and then the graveyard stuff in another. I was like, ugh.
yeah, that graveyard sets. I mean, I know GW's released it 14 times at this
Yes.
point.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome, but I don't know if it's the best for Warcry either, especially because Doug, you love your Corvus Cabal.
Yes. No,
You can't
it's
really land anywhere.
no, it is. You know, it's like a perfect
Oh,
wife.
sorry about that. Sorry about the dry brushing.
Oh, you're fine.
I'll put that on hold. No, someone said it. I'm too close to the mic.
Oh.
I'm pissing them off.
It's just acrylic chemist. It's whatever. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for pointing that out. You know, the graveyard set, it's like the perfect wife. You know, it's a good part of a whole, but it's not. It can't be its own thing. I don't know.
You painted yours up really well too. I like the variety on building colors.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wanted it to pop, you know, for the times where I was using it, but I find that I use it very little. Let's see. 2+ stuff. With the release of Cities of Sigmar and Pointy Elves coming back, is there anything else from the old world that you want to see in AOS? Did you play Fantasy Battles?
No, and I'm afraid to actually answer no because someone's going to hate me for that.
No. Actually, most of the folks who watch my channel, I have found out, never actually played it. Or if they had a cursory knowledge, but they weren't, like, super into it.
Yeah, like I have a basic knowledge of fantasy and like I knew it existed, but I don't know. It's too many models.
Yeah, no, I mean,
as I have hundreds of models painted now, but you know.
No, it was a legit thing. No, I honestly don't. Like, people often assume that I'm like a old world fan because I have the channel and all that stuff like that. But I played it for maybe 8 months before it went away and got Age Sigmar. So like, I don't have that connection. There was nothing. I got High Elves when I started because they were in the Island of Blood battle set, the 2-player starter pack, and they were dirt cheap. They were dirt cheap and they were expensive points wise, which, you know, is the winning combination back in fantasy battles where it's like getting new people in. But nah, not really. I guess maybe I want vampires to be a thing, and I guess they used to be an army, but I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, vampires would be cool. Getting something with Neferata and all that stuff together.
Yeah,
that'd be
exactly.
great.
So that'd be a neat one. Let's see. So walk me through the process when you want to do a battle report for Warcry as we wait for more questions to come in.
Sure.
How do you, like, you know, from concept to filming, how do you come up with the idea for a battle report?
Honestly, it's kind of what I answered earlier. I flipped those cards first. Essentially, I'll pick 2 warbands that I haven't fought together yet. So if like I haven't done, you know, Legions of Nagash versus whatever, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Iron Golems, then I'll go ahead and do that. So generally, I'll pick the warbands. I'll divide up into the hammer, shield, and dagger, all that good stuff. I'll flip the cards. I'll actually kind of like do the game normally because for those who don't know, I play the game against myself. I can't. I have a video where I played. It's not out yet, but I have a video where I played a game against someone, an actual person, and I try to edit it that way, kind of like what Rerolling Ones does. They do, you know, you get the personalities and all that stuff. Yeah. But when it's just me, it's kind of like I'm playing the game, but I sort of have to play both sides and be as unbiased as I can. I feel like I do a pretty good job about that in terms of like, okay, well, this guy would go in this case and so on and so forth. So it's probably very similar to what you did for your narrative battle report.
Yeah.
You just kind of got to play it by ear, really.
Yeah, people have asked me, "Oh yeah, can I join you on your next one?" Right? So you play against a person instead of yourself, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know how to take that same experience and put it into a 2-player format.
Yeah. Also, it's like
it's just gonna be different.
It takes so long to do it. Generally, every minute you watch my video is 1 to 2 hours of actual work.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at, you know, a 10-minute video is 10 to 20 hours of work. That includes starting from concept to script. And when I say script writing, I don't mean like I write a script and then play the battle report. I generally write the script as I'm playing the report. Um, so just so I can do easier voiceover and all
Yep,
that
that's
stuff.
what I did too.
But, yep. Because you can't really, unless you're just like totally not even. Essentially, if you're writing a script and then playing the game, you're not playing the game at all. You're creating a story, which is something different. But
I thought about doing that, but no, I always shied away. I was like, nah. I mean, I feel like the events in the game still have to mean something. You know, otherwise I might as well just tell a story, like literally just have art and tell a story.
100% agree.
Which I think people would still watch, but I think it's different if you put it in a battle report format.
Yeah, you can't write Warcry battle report and then you just you just do a slideshow of pictures.
Yeah, I just slowly walk up like in a robe with a pipe and just like, today we will talk about, you know.
I mean, that would be badass. I'd love to see that. And not a real pipe, one with bubbles that just like popped off at the end.
Oh yeah, one of those
nice.
with like
That'd be
candy
great.
cigarettes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I got a question for me. Alejandro, would you have random people play with you for a battle report? Yes. But I don't want people flying to me. Also, I'd kind of want to get to know you first. I live with my girlfriend and all that stuff, and I wouldn't want to put, again, this is a weird safety thing. I wouldn't want to put me or her in any risk of a weird internet stranger that I just met. So that's just a thing to think about. So
fair enough. Yeah, I would also add, and this has been a hard one between me and the Rerolling One guys. We've all chatted about this. Is just like some charisma is a hard thing to teach people.
Yes. Oh yes.
And when people get on the camera, they get nervous and awkward. You know, I mean, like many people do, and that's totally fine. It's just it doesn't always make for the best experience.
Some people can't forget that a camera's there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's real rough for some folks, and that is like, you know. But I mean, that's not a slight on anyone. That's just we have different skills.
No, not at all. The next big caveat with that too is this game's supposed to take 30 to 40 minutes.
You're gonna fly out for 30 to 40 minutes of gameplay.
But it's not even that. It's like 30, 40. It's like more like 4 to 5 hours of like, all right, now stay there. Let me move the camera. All right, I'm going to zoom in. All right, we're going to pause for 10 seconds, and I want you to move your model. And then after that, throw the X on the guy.
Yep.
Okay, great. Now it's it's not like we're even playing a game at that point. It's like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, we do this. Set it up. Okay, let me film for 10 minutes. All right, let's do the next turn now. It's like, oh my God. Only 48 more activations to go, you know?
Yep. This is going to be great. I remember the one that I filmed, I was so happy when all the Stormcast started dying because then it got super fast. Like things just started moving faster. I was like, oh,
when I get to battle round 3, it's like, oh, okay, this is going better.
Absolutely.
It's hilarious.
Let's see. Walter says, have you found any fun alternative models to fill out the Chaos Warbands? No, I actually really like all those, to be honest with you. They're not the easiest to mod if you want doubles of stuff. I'll give you that one, but that's all I got.
To add to that, in the Monsters and Mercenaries book, a lot of the mercenaries are a lot of the models that you would think to convert over as well. So it's like, oh, great. So now the heroes are already, I can bring them as a mercenary. So it's the same exact model. I will say, if you are going to do any replacements for my Night Haunt, for example, I just brought the Underworlds box for Briar Queen and all that stuff. Those guys work great.
Yes, I will add on that. Yeah, that if you're an AOS faction that has Underworld sculpts, that is the place to go to look at stuff, because like Ard boys are so boring. But like, you know, I mean, what I'm saying is like 5 Ard boys that all look the exact same, all hunched over. But then you go and grab the Underworld version, and they're awesome. So definitely go check that out. Let's see. Eric is excited that I'm getting into Infinity. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna do some lore videos here pretty soon. And there's a healthy gaming group locally, and I'm excited. It's a cool game. That's all. Sorry, kind of stole each other for a second.
I don't mind. Doug, you talk forever. Just be nice to hear someone else chat.
Yeah. I know. So when I was at where was I at? Nova, someone told me like, "Hey, man, thank you for all you do." Like, "Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you so much." Like, people were just really nice about coming up and saying hi and thanking me for the channel. And this one guy comes, he's like, "Hey, thank you so much." And I just want you to know, like, man, my girlfriend loves you. I went, what? And he was like, "Oh yeah, like she has trouble sleeping, and so she'll ask me every once in a while to put on that guy with the deep voice, and I help her fall asleep while her significant other listens to my lore videos."
That sounds kind of creepy.
It's like, man, I know you're giving me a compliment right now. I love you for it. Thank you. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk away now.
Doug, we have a Donald saying that I'm too loud compared to you. Either I talk too loud or...
I can adjust the mic levels here. They seemed okay before. Let's see. Go ahead and say something.
I'm here. Actually, to continue that conversation, was your wife there when that guy said that to you?
She was not.
That's good.
But she'd be cool with it. She's cool. She's a trooper.
That'd just be kind of funny. She's just awkwardly standing there.
I'm gonna go now.
My wife loves you. It's like, okay. It's hilarious.
Exactly. Now she's ready to embrace the role of trophy wife, as she has said before.
There you go. Nice. Nothing soothes me like sleep hearing about Bray herds murdering across the countryside. Thank you, King Brett. That's amazing.
Yep. Now, you said earlier that your Beast of Chaos is a big deal to you. Are you playing Beast of Chaos in AOS?
Yes. I have roughly, I'm looking over at them right now, roughly 2,000 or so points. So, okay, I mean, that's not terribly a lot compared to some folks who have like 70,000 points of something. But I love them. Honestly, I awkwardly got into them after the book came out. Forever ago. That was one of the first books, now that I think about it. One of the first few.
Yeah.
But yeah, the models are fantastic. I love Bulgors, even though they're not that good. They're just great. And now they're in Warcry, so I'm even more pumped for that.
Boom. I love it. Let's see. Demon Lizard from Outer Space. Hello, everybody. My first Warcry game last week, and I am hooked. That's awesome.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. It's super fun. For me... So, okay, actually, let's go back to Warcry, because I realized that my Nova story kind of took us off on a weird tangent.
That's fine.
What I'd like to ask is, so have you gotten the Tome of Champions?
Yes. So I did manage to pick that up. Me personally, looking through it, as much as I'd love to play narrative, I don't play it as much, so the book isn't perfect for me. But there are some awesome scenario games in there. I forgot exactly what they're called. I could look it up right now. But the one with like you got to like hang out with the battle mage.
That's my favorite, hands down.
That one's awesome. I want to do a battle report with that one real bad.
Having a weird NPC thing for no reason.
Yes,
This is the best. Yeah.
The traveling wizard. That's what it is. An ill-advised expedition. It just sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those things. Those things are great where you just throw in like the weird big monster. I mean, they're a little kind of hit or miss on balance wise and all that stuff, but they're just really cool and thematic, and that's what I love about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I've said this before, but for me, the strength of Warcry is the amount of work to those moments of saying, wow, that was an epic moment. Whether it's good for you or bad for you, right? Your opponent rolls all sixes or something crazy like that. The amount of work required to achieve those moments is the best ratio in wargaming right now to me. By that I mean it's the easiest way to have the most fun, right? And
100% agree.
And I think that's like the real strength of the game. It's something I've chatted about multiple times, and people are like, "Oh, this is too simple." Like, no. It's so straightforward. I mean, and complexity always comes later. Like now we're looking down the barrel of a whole bunch of campaign stuff from that Tome of Champions, and
there's 2 more books now. So
yep, you know, they made it very open, so things are very bolt on. But in terms of just how quickly you can get a new person playing the game, learn the rules, and have fun, and have moments that they're like, that was baller, it is perfect. So
oh yeah, I got a battle report coming out where I teach, or essentially my brother and I play, and it's his very first game, and you know he kicks my butt. Spoiler, uh, but it was just so easy to get him into the game. I mean, he's like played a couple little war games here and there in the past, but
yeah.
it's so easy to get someone into it.
Yep. And I just, yeah, that's absolutely, I think, the biggest thing. Let's see.
Yeah, there's been a few questions that have popped through.
Oh, go for it. You can fire one ready if you got them.
What new war bands are you guys most interested in?
Carriage and Overlords.
Oh, KO would be great. I haven't looked at those cards too much because I don't have any KO.
Me either. I gave mine to Jack. I mean, I guess if we're limiting it to stuff we're gonna play, I'm gonna say Maggotkin. So,
that would be exciting to see too. To be honest, mine's ogres and beasts of chaos. I have those armies. I love those armies. They're great.
Yep.
As someone who has no knowledge about Warcry but does have an AOS army, can you use all AOS models in Warcry or only a select few? To answer that real quickly, select few, but there are tons of options. And also you can essentially just throw in whatever model you like and just say, oh, this is the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's the same base size, it should work out.
Pretty much.
As long as your opponent's cool with it, which I assume they would.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, there are select, but they've included so many options from different factions that honestly, if you have an AOS army, it's getting to the point where you have a Warcry army. They just keep adding new things and new things. So
yeah, like for example, Iron Jaws, the only models you can't use are, well, obviously the big boy, the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, and the Gore Gruntas. Everything else you can use.
Yep. Any infantry option seems to be open, as well as some heroes from the Monsters and Mercenaries.
Yep. And even the variety of infantry, too. So if you have, like, swords or spears or, like, the Hecatos from Bone Reapers.
Yep. Yeah, lots of options. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through this, too.
Walter Black says you don't have to suffer through the sit there for half an hour and only remove models like you do with mass battles.
Yeah.
100%. I agree. Like I assume you're talking about Warcry and not about Underworld or like that, but yeah, absolutely. That's a big deal for me anyway, for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
It's also nice to be able to I go, you go real quick. So it feels like you're constantly doing or thinking about something. Because sometimes you're playing a game of AOS and you're like, all right, your opponent's going. And you're like, all right, what am I going to do for the next 35 minutes?
Yep. Oh, yeah, exactly. I did. I'm like, hey, you want a soda? I'm going to get a soda. You want a soda? And I just walk away.
Like, oh, did you get a bunch of sixes? Oh, okay, these guys are dead? All right, yeah, sure.
Yeah. What do we got to roll?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally agree. Let's see.
Did they add more mercs in Tome of Champions? I don't think they did. Let me double check.
My understanding is that they did not.
No, they just put all the War Scroll cards in the back
for
all the current factions. Current factions as of not tomorrow. And tons of narrative stuff, like awesome narrative stuff in here.
Yep. Yeah, it's a big narrative book if you're into the storytelling, that kind of thing. I did, and I'll put it in the description below after I'm done, but I did a video that basically just broke down what's in every single book, in case you're curious. So you can craft the exact experience that you want. What'd you say?
Oh, I was just saying it's a good video, Doug.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was one of those things that, like, the more... It's the GW problem. I think the model that GW does with expansions is getting a little outdated, where it's just always just add another book. And you're just like, man, I can't keep track of all these books, and then a new person shows up and they're like, what do I buy? There's like so much stuff.
Yeah, especially like, say you missed the Warcry hype from 6 months ago and you're like, okay, now there's 3 books. Yep. There's all these guys. What the hell do I do?
Exactly.
Also, it can just turn you off at that point. You're like, all right, well, it's already this far. I don't want to get into it.
Yep. No, exactly. I mean, that's the thing where like I was at the store the other day, game store, and I was looking around, and so I have never played D&D,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and I
they got
was,
way too many books, Doug.
huh?
So many books. They got so many books,
I know,
Doug.
yeah. So I'm
Oh
looking
no.
at the bookshelf, and they have like a bajillion D&D books and all the expansions, the campaigns. So I don't know what any of it is and what it does, but a store person comes up to me and is just like, "Hey, you have any questions?" And I was like, how much of this do you actually need? And they're like, I don't know, like maybe
One.
like 3, 4 max, like if you want to be set for a while, to buy in. I was like, okay, because like this is super intimidating. Like it just is. Like,
Yeah. Especially because, again, to get off subject, D&D's hit like a huge. I would even agree with tabletop games in general have hit a huge spike in just interest, and people are like, all right, nerds are cool now. Let's go do this thing that we've always wanted to do.
yep,
Because now we don't care about going to get girls,
exactly. This is the internet. We have an app for that. We don't even need.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't need just to stand around looking sexy. We can just.
Yeah. I don't have to go tell them.
Necromunda is the worst offender of book bloat. Yeah, I might agree with that. I don't know. I have the core book and the gangs, the Underhive, but I understand if you want to collect a lot of stuff and play everything, you gotta pony up some real coin. But I play my Escher. Have you ever played Necromunda?
Necromunda is one of those that I've always wanted to, but
Yeah.
the problem is, it's like, if I get it, I'm gonna want to make videos about it, and that's just like months and months of minis and painting it, because I'm never gonna put something on my channel that's not painted. That's
For
just
sure.
one of my things. I know rerolling ones do that, have that same policy, but it's just me. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. No, yeah.
I can't power through all that.
Well, I mean, luckily, like, you know, rerolling ones makes it seem so easy, but really Jack just pawns everything off on our buddy Greg. I say that because Jack's listening and I love you.
It's okay, Jack. It's fine. Well, obviously Greg wants to do it. He's a glutton for pain.
Yes, he is. I've actually. So when we let him into the group, he kept taking commissions from Jack, and I actually messaged Greg, and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, man, like you could say no, you could still be in the group, bro." And he was like, "Oh, I know, I just love it." I'm like, okay. And then oftentimes I will sell my painted armies because I paint a lot. I will sell painted.
That rerolling ones just has half of your old armies.
Yeah, they do, and they're all belong to Jack, I think.
That's hilarious.
I'm trying to think. So he has my Fire Slayers, Iron Jaws, Caradron Overlords, the Bone Splitters I have with him right now.
Mm-hmm.
What else does he have? I can't think of anything else, but yeah, no, that's where my armies go to die. By that I mean they're dead to me. Like they still get used and played, but
Doug, how many armies have you legit gone through? Can you even count them at this point?
oh, what are we defining as like legit army?
Like, let's say, all right, let's define it as that you've acquired models and you've at least put paint to them.
Oh,
which is probably all of them.
Okay, yeah. Let's walk through my history here.
It's got to be 10.
So I started with Slaves to Darkness, devoted to Nurgle when I first got into AOS. Stormcast.
You still have your S to Ds, right?
No, I don't. No, actually, I sold them off because I knew that they were coming, and I was like, well, I want to repaint them because I've come a long way. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to reroll them.
Oh yeah, those new sculpts.
So Slaves to Darkness, Stormcast twice, Bone Splitters twice. I have painted two.
How do you do it twice? That seems weird to me.
So the Bone Splitters, the Bone Splitters one was because I bought them when their first Battle Tome came out.
I see. So that's like early AOS.
And nobody wanted to play against me because they were, at the time, very, very deadly. And people in my local area would just be like, I'm just not going to play you. And I was like, but that's not, like, I'm not playing those lists and that kind of stuff. And anyway, so then I sold them off just as like, well, I'm not getting anything out of an army that nobody wants to even acknowledge. So I got rid of them. And then Yeah, so those two twice. Things that I've painted: Fire Slayers, Carriage and Overlords. Never did Cities of Sigmar. Never did Sarafan. Never did Maw Tribes. Iron Jaws. Beast of Chaos.
That's the one that hit me the hardest, Doug. Beast of Chaos.
I'm sorry. It hit a lot of people really hard, especially because I did a video talking about how I'm going to play them all year and then immediately jumped ship.
Yeah, I think was it like literally days after that you just got rid of them right at that point.
I think it was like 2 weeks. Oh,
2
yes,
weeks.
Skaven. Thank you, Wayne. I did do Skaven.
But at least you went like elite for Skaven. You didn't go, well, actually.
Well, I didn't
Get a
really
bunch
do
of
anything for
points.
Skaven. I painted 1,500 points, but because of the way their battle lines work, I didn't have an army, like a functional playable army.
I see.
So that's why it burned me out. I'm like, I have painted like 70 models for this freaking army, and I have nothing.
Oh man. And then that's when you went to Iron Jaws because you immediately like, all right, every single model in this is battle line.
Yeah, pretty much. This will never happen again. And then my Nurgle that I have, I now own Night Haunt. I didn't really paint them. I bought them painted.
Those Night On are beautiful.
Yeah, I'm actually just gonna hold on to them as like a trading piece or a selling thing if I ever need cash.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough how much I got them just to help a guy out. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know. We'll see how that one pans out for me. But I bought some Deepkin, and then I think I painted like 2. It was like 2 Namarti. It wasn't even anything.
We won't
good.
count that. We won't
Yeah,
count that.
No,
one.
I don't count it as an army. Actually, I'm going to pull up the GW site and see what I haven't done.
Oh man. Oh no. I don't think you should do that, Doug.
Oh, I've done almost all of them. Let's see here.
You're gonna piss people off.
Never did Daughters of Cain. So yeah, I think I named all the order ones.
Daughters of Cain is just hard to really get into, though.
That was always the problem. Like I remember 2 years before Daughters of Cain came out, I was hanging out with Shu from Reeling Ones, and he was like, if you could get in any army, what would it be? And I said, oh, Daughters of Cain, because it's so cool. But that was me assuming that they would have some kind of like discounted box price when they came out, and I was like, no, it's just too much.
Those snake ladies, the Melusai, are awesome.
Yep. Oh, I have also painted armies for Khorne and then Tzeentch. Skaven, Slaves to Darkness. Those are all full armies. And then for Death, nothing. I've never been a Death player.
Yeah, Death. There's a couple things that interest me, but yeah, I'm with you there too.
Yeah, and then just the Orc stuff. So yeah, that's a lot of armies. Some twice.
Well, it's not a bad thing, Doug, by any means.
No, and sometimes I do think about Deepkin as an army, but the problem is, like, our local painting expert Greg plays them, and his are like a masterwork of painting, and you just look at that and you're like, well,
well, I'm not gonna
exactly. I'm gonna take my toys and go home.
feel embarrassed. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I don't know. Donald says he's only ever sold one of his armies. Yeah, right now the only things I own are the Maggotkin and the Night Haunt that I got from the guy that I don't know what to do with. I love the Maggotkin, love the aesthetic of him, so that's kind of been I want that to be my forever army kind of thing.
Well, you've had that Glockkin forever, right?
That's the thing. So the last time I was looking for an army because I just needed more punishment in my life.
Yep.
I was like, okay, if I'm gonna buy something, let's try to get something I'm gonna stick with. What's the aesthetic that I've never gotten tired of? And I never gotten rid of the Glockkin because I just love him. I was like, you know what? That's what we're doing. So
I feel like it's hard to get rid of a big centerpiece like that, anyways.
Yeah,
I feel like
be
it's hard to get rid of like infantry guys,
It's true.
Like they're just 10 Ungors, whatever, that kind of thing.
Yep, 100%. See if these guys are dried yet. Do you seal your models if you paint
them? Very lightly. I just do the what's it called? I think is it testers? Yep. Testers dull coat. Yep. I do that stuff. just like a few sprays. But I've honestly found, unless it's contrast paints, that they actually tend to hold up pretty well, unless you start chucking them on the floor or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Let's see. Walter Black, by the way, I've tried giving you a few tips on your newly acquired Night Haunt in the comments of that video. I will review those. I have been busy since last night when I sit down to look at the video metrics and that kind of stuff, but thank you. Yeah, it's we'll see how that goes with the Night Haunt. Yeah. But have you played against, or have you played against Night Haunt in Warcry?
Well, I guess technically, if you consider playing against yourself, then yes.
There you go.
Night Haunt, I feel, again, personal opinion. I don't feel they're that strong unless it's objective game. Like they can't hit at all. But those spirit hosts are great. I like the spirit hosts a lot. They're really fun.
Why is that?
But also they're like 200 something points for Warcry, so you only can take a few of them. But they can fly everywhere, which is fantastic. So you can get anywhere easily. But they're, I don't know, they just don't pack a punch.
That is a fair opinion. Yeah, I've only played against them once. It was with our local group, and the guy was. It was one of those missions where you have to kill the other person's leader.
Yep.
And he couldn't, like, and then my guy was able to wiggle away. It was just the Untamed Beast leader. It wasn't anything special. It was just Grognak the Barbarian over there, just like ringing around. But
like 25 wounds or whatever, something like that. I don't know how much he has. 25, 30.
Yeah.
But
King Bread, since you cycle through armies, Doug, where do you sell them? I sell them to friends. We have a local Facebook group and sometimes eBay. But yeah. And if anyone's looking for a Night Haunt army, hit me up. We'll hang out. We'll chat.
That hourglass is amazing.
I know, isn't it? I mean, that's just a killer
the coolest thing.
He killed it.
That is awesome.
Every time I use my Night Haunt and Warcry, I keep wondering why they're as expensive point-wise as they are. I'm not sure. I think there's always been a few things that I think development-wise Games Workshop seems to overvalue. I think one of them is invuln saves in 40k. If you haven't played 40k, it probably doesn't mean anything to you. And then fly, because fly is good, but it only matters if you're a player who knows how to get every ounce of drop of ability out of it. I don't know. And so they'll point something, and all of a sudden nobody can take it, nobody can use it. It's a tough one.
I will say, fly in Warcry is good, but if you're playing against an army that's pretty quick, like Corvus Cabal's not slow by any means, but they can generally get around the board pretty easily, you know?
Yeah, I've never had trouble getting around with them.
Yep.
Let's see.
I was going to say something else.
Are there warbands that can revive models? Yes. Legions of Nagash, and I think Night Haunt too, right? Don't they have a way to bring...
Maybe. I can't recall off the top of my head. Actually, I literally have the cards in front of me. How convenient. It's like I planned this. Not really.
Way to get your buddy to steer the conversation that way so you can be a pro.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Night Haunt, Chilling Horde, Spectral Summon, yeah. Yeah, it's a triple. They can do it.
Okay.
But yeah, only the Death Armies can do it, essentially.
Let me ask you this. When you look at, we have all these new warbands coming out with their cards, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at a set of cards, what do you look for to determine how you think that faction's going to be?
This is just my personal opinion.
Yes.
Someone can go against it, but the amount of attacks and the amount of damage on a crit, you're going to get crits. That's what I've kind of found out about the game. It's just, you're bound to happen, and when you're critting on 8s or 6s instead of 3s and 4s, and you have in just one attack action, 4 or 5 attacks, you're bound to get a crit. And you're bound to just knock a guy to the floor.
That is.
What about you, Doug?
For me, the first thing honestly I look at is the abilities card, and I want to see what their double that everyone can do is. Like, what is the base action that I can make any tool in my army do?
That's a good point.
So for example, I think I actively dislike the Corvus Cabal one, where it's like spend a double and throw like a dart at somebody and maybe it'll hurt them, and you're like, what?
I find those abilities so lackluster.
They
All of
are
them.
so
So it's
sad.
like, yeah,
Um,
and it's really bad when it's like, here's your quad or your triple, and it's like, hey, throw on a 4-up, you do 1 damage, and on a
yep,
6 you do 2. It's like, oh man, that's so sad. Like, give
yep,
me something slightly better. But
exactly. So, but conversely, like you look at something like I mentioned, Bone Splitters is my favorite. The fact that
yep,
any tool in my army can charge, you know what I mean? Or like do that free move as long as it ends within an enemy and whatever like that. Like that is massive.
I will say abilities that can cheap costing abilities that can give you a free action essentially, whether it's an attack or a move, are they're one of the best in the game in my opinion.
Yep. Yep, yep. So I don't know. I like the idea. Like if someone were to be like, "Hey, Doug, we're thinking about this new Warcry thing, and we want your ability to like, in a group of ninjas to throw like a Karari dart at somebody and have them freeze." They're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, that sounds great." And then the second I see it on the paper where it's like, throw a dart and maybe something happens, I'm like, "Oh, it sucks all the fun out of that." It isn't. I don't know.
It's cool and thematic, but like in the game, even if you're playing a narrative game, you at least want to like do well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Throwing a dart for 1 damage and wasting your triple is not it's just not as enjoyable.
Right. Throwing darts are bad. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know what we got here. Cypher Lords had the same thing, and it actually won me 2 games. Okay, well I'm not gonna say it has zero use. I
Oh
was gonna
no.
say that like I like the idea of everyone being able to do a thing that I find valuable, and from there, because once you get like a sense of what kind of action economy, that sounds very official and tactical, but I don't mean it that way. But once you understand that, like, okay, so all these bone splitters have potential to move into an enemy and then start punching. Like, that changes the way I look at the War Scrolls next.
Oh yeah. Action economy is huge in the whole game. I mean, it's essentially like that is the game. I mean, that's
It
how you
is.
play, you know. Generally, if you have more actions than the other guy, that means you have more chances to do damage
Yep.
or get objectives or do whatever else you need to do.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite parts of the game, though, is the variety that you can just flip a card and you get a different game all the time.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, like, as much as people complain about how lopsided some matchups can be, the fact is that the game is built in a way that you just re-rack and in 2 seconds you're playing your next game having a great
Exactly.
time again. So it's like,
Yep.
that's whatever. I don't care. So I like that quite a bit. Let's see. Doug, once you crit with the double, get 6 damage, you may feel differently. I may.
I think he means with the Corvus Cabal and
Yeah.
chucking the little.
Yep. The only thing that matters is getting up close and hitting people.
I was reading that too.
Yeah.
Someone likes Iron Jaws. Sam, you love Iron Jaws, apparently.
If anyone has any questions for me or Mr. Donnie, go ahead and ask him in the chat here. Cypher Lord darts are strong. See, I've heard that. I don't know. It's never panned out for me. Like we had oh man, several.
I'd like to
players.
reiterate, we're not professionals, so
Maybe you're not. Please.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I will take that criticism.
You're fine. You're doing great. We're doing good.
We're doing good. We're hanging in.
Let's see. Did we have anything else we were going to cover? We kind of did a little.
I have something on a list. House rules.
Oh yeah. Do you have any house rules for yourself?
I don't because I play by myself. There are a couple things that I've done fun though. I guess it's sort of pertaining. I've done an all-out chaotic beast matchup.
Ooh.
So essentially, I did like I think I did like the Great Bray Shaman and a bunch of like dogs and furies and all that crap versus like the Corvus Cabal leader with a bunch of Raptor X's and all that stuff against each other. And there's nothing in the rules that says that you should or can't do that. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. Sounds fun.
That's the best. Do you like using the beasts for like the if a twist card comes out with a beast? I've had some folks who just don't really like that.
I'd say it's hit or miss because
Hmm.
sometimes it's like, all right, cool. It adds like a nice little flair, especially if like you have an army that you know can't pack a punch, and then you throw a Raptorix in there, which Raptorix can hit somewhat decent. But other times it's like, all right, there's just another model we got to move.
Yeah, pretty much. For me, I like them on like I noticed our uh, Iron Jaws player, because it's so much fewer models. He liked
Yes.
having that just to kind of spread out and just have some. I don't know.
Yeah, that stuff. If you have low model count and you throw, and the twist card says, "Oh, throw in 200 points of whatever on the
Yeah,
board," that makes it a lot more enjoyable.
yeah, for sure. Question here from Walter: what is the highest thing on your wish list for future Warcry releases?
Oh man, that's a really tough one.
Yeah.
'Cause we already know all the warbands. Essentially, most of the AOS armies are coming out uh, for Warcry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Gameplay wise, that's a rough one. You go first, Doug.
Ooh. I'm gonna say I am also kind of all over the place on this one. Part of me wants. I'd love for there to be two books that come out in tandem, um, where one is here's how we take this game and make it a very fun competitive miniatures game. We take that base and we just take a hacksaw to a whole bunch of the rules, restructure it. This is now Warcry, the competitive version.
Yep.
And at the same time, the other book just leans so heavily into narrative that it's unreal. And I mean, like, you know, more injuries, more random artifacts that you can carry, more complexity, but all for creating really cool stories. One of the things I loved about More Time was that you're trying to kill the other warband simultaneously. You're constantly on a resource gathering mission. Like you're always looking for Weirdstone. And
Now
so
that would be great.
yeah,
That would
and
be
I don't feel that same tension with a lot of the missions in Warcry. So, let everything that it is now exist as a fantastic light game with good introduction, and then have these two formats that are like, this is intensity. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
everything's either symmetrical and balanced for competitive play at events, or you go so far down the road of like, you have a day long event, 3 rounds. Who can get the most of whatever resource? Realmstone. I don't care what they call it. I think those things would be super cool.
8 point stone. That's what they'd call it.
Exactly.
Something super lame. Now they do like the typical like they just put two like fantasy adjectives together, like bone reapers.
Yeah.
Like something super super like super lame.
um,
I guess
yeah.
I thought of one while you were talking.
Go for it.
They have, I guess they'll have 8 Chaos Warbands once the Scions of Flames come out.
Yep.
I'd love to see just different ones, more new, because variety, in my opinion, makes the game more interesting. So when they come out with all these warbands, this game's going to get shaked up, and it should be more enjoyable for most folks. More people can join in the game because they haven't got more models. But I just love new models, so that's what I want.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is like I don't have any real requests model wise. They're doing a great job of bringing in everyone who wants to be there. With the AOS army kind of thing. It's the I think it's a fantastic skeleton of a game, but I think what hinders them when it comes to some of these book releases is like I think they keep trying to ride the line between oh here this book has some matched play options. This book has some narrative options too. It's like no, just lean hard into one, and then you can
Yeah, they
make a
got
book that leans hard into the other.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was just saying it's kind of awkward how they do it too. Like they'll do like 4 pages of match play, and then they'll do the rest narrative, or in another book they'll do it vice versa. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
Can you pick one?
Well,
You
no,
know?
or it'll go like in the core book. It's like narrative play, campaign play, matched play, and then your actual like name generator, which is like more of a narrative thing. You're like, wait,
Yeah.
what? So
Also, as neat as the name generator is, I could care less about any of those pages. Not gonna lie.
sacrilege. No, yeah,
Like
that's fair.
I can go online and go to a fantasy name generator and find way cooler names rather than the five I can choose from in the book that takes up 16 pages.
Yeah, but if they all have the same name, then they're obviously from the same family, and that brings them all
Sure.
together. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like they all went to Olive Garden because when you're at the Olive Garden, boom, when you hear your family.
Mom, dad, and the infant.
Yep,
The Smiths. The Smiths are going to the 8 points to do battle.
exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be baller.
We're gonna have so much fun, kids. It's hilarious.
Have you read the anthology?
I've skimmed it over. It's essentially I've read it over once, and that was when it first came out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not. There's not too much to it.
No, not really.
Unfortunate.
But I'm hoping for more in the future. We'll see. See.
Yeah, you got to make some videos, Doug.
I know.
You got to pay the bills.
Yeah, exactly. What does GW expect me to do? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Let's see. You need to open up Forge World monsters for Warcry. That'd be kind of fun. Can't think of a
Actually, that would
specific
be neat.
Forge World monster that I want.
What are those guys called? Like Azog or whatever? I can't think of off the top of my head. There's kind of like half centaur, badass looking guys.
Oh, from the Chaos Dwarves, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Colossal Squig's a good option. I would like. Oh man, what is he? Like it's like the Merworm. I don't know if you've seen that one. That's actually one of my favorite models that Forge World produces.
Never gotten it. Have always wanted to get it. I forgot what it's called too, but it's just the massive worm with the big maw on the front.
No, this one's like a. Let me see if I can find a picture here.
Here, I'll look too. Maybe we're talking about two different things.
I think we are. Forge World. Oh, sorry. It's a force of habit, and I accidentally just clicked my mouth in front of the microphone. It's going to drive me nuts if I can't find it.
Yeah, I want to try to find the one I'm talking about too.
And I know the one you're talking about, where he pops up out of the ground with an angry-looking face.
Yeah, it's awesome. If any D&D fans are out there, it's like a purple worm. I'd definitely paint it purple. Destruction.
Let's see.
Here. I'll stop the dead air and I'll answer a question, or I'll find one.
Go for it.
I want a colossal squig. That would be cool.
Yeah.
All the big guys are rough though. Like if you're trying to do like the Gorgon or the Terrorgeist on the board,
Oh, for sure.
that stuff's very rough. It's really difficult to do wobbly models in Warcry, especially with a 30 by 22 inch board.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when that's like asking to put like Gordrak on the board, being like, "Yeah, this is cool. This is what I brought today."
Yeah, I remember before there were limits on named characters. People bring in like 2 Archeons. You're like, come on, man.
Yep. You're like, "Oh, that's 1,800 points right there. That's fun."
Oh,
Or
I think they got rid of the thing that I was talking about.
Yeah, I think they recently went through a.
Oh, never mind. Forge World's dead to me. Okay.
There you go. Perfect. The Troll Hag Queen. That would be cool. Okay, that would be awesome.
Let's see. Oh, I think I accidentally clicked out of the.
Oh, I'm back.
There we go. Rogue Idol. There we go. Alrighty. Sorry, my computer started being funny. We're still good. Stream's still going. Should probably ease off the internet searching. For me, anyway.
We get dead air for 12 minutes. Everyone's just wondering where we went.
I know, right? I think they discontinued most AOS monsters. Bomber. That's okay, though. I'm sure.
Doug, do you have a biggest, what am I trying to say? Just like, what's your least favorite part about the game? Because we've talked so positive about it mostly this whole time. We got to have a couple negatives.
Yeah. So my least favorite part of Warcry. I'm not the biggest fan of the disparity between AOS factions and non-AOS, like in the chaos specific ones. It just feels like they were written by two different teams.
Ooh.
Beyond that, I feel conflicted about. Like, I love the game as a campaign thing, like where you're playing a little personal campaign and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like I was saying before with the Mordheim thing, I feel like the tension inside a single game is not there because you're not being pulled in different directions. You know, you have this objective, but whereas in Mordheim it's kill and also resource gathering, which puts you in weird positions. Do you want to have these guys go off to the right, split your forces up to go collect stuff, that kind of thing? I wish that was there.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are
I would
big
agree
ones.
It's almost, I mean, and this isn't necessarily a gripe of the game. It's almost too straightforward at times. And it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
By any means. But sometimes when you're like, all right, I've played Warcry about, however many games I've played at this point. And you're like, all right, let's flip over a couple of objectives. And you're like, all right, well, I've done that one. And you go through and you're like, all right, that one's pretty similar to the other one.
Yep.
All right, now the objective's just higher. All right, that's not fun. So obviously they have tons of variety already, but I wish they would take it in a couple weird different ways. Ways that, like, it might just not work, as in, like, it won't be fun, but at least try it.
Yeah.
And then people can complain about on the internet about it, but, it's what it is.
Yep. PJ asks, sorry, just joined the chat. Was wondering if you are able to confirm successful lore competition entries. No, there's way too many. I'm not gonna. It's just a personal email that I set up like that, so I'm not gonna go through and respond to every single person. I'm sorry, that would take me way
How
too.
many of those have you gotten, Doug?
Well, last time I checked, I was up to 64.
Whew, man. I know you're not just reading those, right?
Well, so so I am. Whew. And I'm going to pick my top 10 and bring them to the patrons, and then they're going to pick number 1, 2, 3,
Holy
whatever.
crap. That's despite them not being that long. What is it? How many words did you say? 1,000, 500?
1,500.
1,500. Okay, so even more than I thought. What's that? 3 pages?
Something like that in that region.
That's a lot. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some will. I'm going to be pretty vicious when it comes to weeding them out. So, like, my instructions were don't put your name in it because otherwise, it's not fair for the patrons to know who it is, that kind of thing. So, like, if a name's in there, boom, instant, not delete, but it's not going into the final. Like, I'll still read it and have a good time, but
there's at least like 10 people that are like, oh crap, right now.
Exactly. Yep. And that's okay.
Oh man.
So we'll weed out pretty quick. Yeah, it's all good. I'm not worried about it. Like most things in life, I just wing it, and something good happens at the end.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited to see the winner.
That's what being an adult is, everybody.
I assume you were going to do a video about the winner and all that stuff too.
Yeah, so basically the deal that I made was the reward was there's prizes, but at the end of the day, the top I think 5 I said I have to double check. I'm gonna make like lore videos based on as if they were real things.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Those $100. That's nice of you to pull that out of your own pocket.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's gets people excited. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say.
So I immediately after I did that, a buddy of mine was like, you probably shouldn't have made a cash prize because now people are going to be all upset if they don't win and they want to know why. I'm like, oh, I'm not telling anyone why.
Yeah, for them.
Just heads up. Don't ask me why you didn't win. I'm not going to answer.
Yeah, life sucks. Someone's going to lose. Whatever.
Yeah. But
just have a better entry for the next time you do the challenge.
Well, not even that. It's like, you didn't submit to Black Library. You submitted to Doug. like the guy with no literary expertise whatsoever.
Yeah, I went to community college. I took community college class
Yeah.
in literature.
I went to a useless Bible college where we didn't even have like really an English program,
There you go.
so that's my metric of success.
I can at least speak English, so
Exactly. And we have a few people who they're not native English speakers, and so I'm going to have some grace for that kind of thing. Like, you know,
oh yeah.
I'm not doing a writing and editing thing. I don't care. So you can make some mistakes.
I'll send you one in Spanish, Doug.
Do it. I won't read it, but it'll be cool.
That would be very rough.
It's weird. All these people just keep saying their names and asking where the bathroom is because it's the only phrases you know.
Cuido ir al baño?
This is a really, really weird story.
Oh man.
Is there like a Nurgle plague coming? Like, why is everyone so concerned about the bathrooms of Azir?
That's hilarious. Have you read any of the submissions yet, or are you kind of holding off on that?
No, I decided to hold off on them.
Okay.
Which was reconfirmed to me as a good idea after I received a message that said, "Hey, is there an advantage to doing this early or later?" I was like,
Ooh,
"Man,
yeah, that's good.
don't be gaming this system. Like, it's a lower entry contest."
Hey, like that person said, once cash is on the line, people will go crazy.
It's true.
I mean, luckily the community that you have and just overall the wargaming community is actually pretty chill. Surprisingly,
yeah, I think they are. Yeah, there's very the immature ones are allowed, but they're few, I think.
yeah, they're the ones that just talk the loudest. That's really about it.
Yep. Let's see. Walter says, my biggest gripe, the skill up system for your warriors in Warcry feels a bit underdeveloped. Yeah, like when they kind of grow over time, I would agree with that. Like gaining glory is not as cool as it should be. When I hear gain glory, I think like, you know, he goes Super Saiyan or something like that. And it's just like...
I mean, that would also be cool.
Yeah, no, he's like, oh, you just get a reroll. I'm like, okay, well, that's
Yeah.
cool. That you're going to forget. Hey, here's this rule you're going to forget.
Yeah, it's like, what was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh, well, forget it.
Let's see. What time do I got? Almost 4. A couple more minutes. Does anyone have any questions as we kind of wrap up? We'll give it the next 15 or so minutes. Go ahead and put any questions you got for me in the chat. We're pretty much just sitting here waiting on paint to dry, so I'm sure there's nothing very interesting happening on your side. Or on your screen, I mean. What do you got, Peyton? Donnie?
No holes, because why not? That's what I got.
Nice.
I'm sitting there. They're it's hard to paint and chat at the same time. I will say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know how you do this all the time, Doug.
You know, I am well versed in talking to myself. I did it long before I had a YouTube channel.
Yep.
I still do it in a car sometimes. I have had really, I would say, quite profound arguments with many people when they're not there in the car or in the shower. You know, I just kind of talk to myself.
It's the shower thing that you're like, oh man, 3 days ago I have a perfect comeback now.
Yep. Man,
I hope I talk to that
I
again.
would have destroyed this man's career if I had thought of that on time.
Do you keep I keep a recorder in my work van. I drive a lot.
Ooh,
If I come up with ideas, do you do anything like that?
I don't, but that's actually a solid idea. I should do that.
Bought one for like $15 on Amazon.
If nothing else, just a vent.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and you can listen. I will say, since I've had it, I've probably talked into it maybe like 6 times. Never listened to anything back. Just
That's
because the idea was in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is a really good idea. I'm never going to forget it. And then I actually end up not forgetting it. I need
Yeah.
one by my bed, though.
People are going to think I'm a doctor. This is going to be awesome, like dictating notes.
Oh, man.
Let's see. Fabio says, what's the Warcry faction that you look forward to the most that won't be coming in this wave? So what do you want to come that hasn't been announced?
Well, I already know your answer, Doug.
What is that?
It's got to be Maggotkin, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose so. That's probably what it is. Yeah, I was thinking like he meant that wasn't announced at all. Like we have no.
Oh, ooh, announced it all. Well, how many, other than like if they came up with a brand new Chaos Warband, how many are even left? Other than
Honestly, not.
cities, maybe?
Oh,
Cities
cities. Yeah, cities would be baller if they made a box for that. Then you could put like a
would
little
be,
general in there.
God, they could do a lot with cities because a lot of the cities guys are on 25 mil bases too. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the infantry units.
Were Sylvaneth announced?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe so.
Okay. Yeah. So I've got cities.
I guess as of now, in terms of models I have, I guess mine would be Sylvaneth because I have some Sylvaneth models. But um, honestly, Nurgle would be cool because I've honestly never I've always wanted to paint some Nurgle guys, but I've just I literally have one Nurgle unit or like literally one Nurgle model, and it's like, man, I'd love to just paint like 10 and then just call it a day, you know?
They're pretty cool.
I think we're both generally on the same page that Maggot Can or some type of Nurgle would be fantastic.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Sarafan would be cool too. King Bread.
Yeah.
Seraphon's also one of those that it's like I'd love to paint some Seraphon models too.
What Sylvaneth do you have? No, I don't have any Sylvaneth. I just thought it would be really cool. That's an army that's always intrigued me. Like Sylvaneth intrigues me because of the teleport thing, but I just not enough to buy an entire army.
Yeah, throw your little spite revenants all around the board.
Yeah, and that's honestly, yeah. I mean, the problem is with every single AOS army I play, I always am drawn to the models that are the worst in the game. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh, Maggotkin. I'm gonna get a
that.
bunch of Puscoil Blight Lords. What's everyone running? Oh, like 40 Blight Kings and a whole bunch of shenanigans with Plague Bears.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, you get super excited about the model, and then you read about it online. Everyone's like, "Yeah, it's garbage, hot garbage." And you're like, "Oh man."
So then I just decided, like, I'm just gonna embrace my inner snowflake and I'm just playing the Puscoils. I have a full aerial assault army with the Puscoil Blight King. So
City, honestly, if they made it cities though, that would be one of my things too. I'd love to have cities because I'm working on I mean, obviously not this second, but I'm working on like a dark elf kind of anvil guard type army too.
yeah, I would love it if they. So let's say like they do Warcry stuff, but they move away from just chaos factions being in those kind of like self-contained boxes. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
they announced they're doing that with Stormcast, Nighthaunt, and something else, Gloomspite.
Gloomspite, yep.
But if they use that as a way to release new models as well, like a cities pack with like a general, something they can use as their. So in Cities of Sigmar, you have your general, and they have like a little coterie type unit that can like take wounds for them and
Yep.
like box
I
those
forgot
up.
what that's called too.
Yeah, make unique models for all of those things. That would be incredible. Like I would love that.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Honestly, if they did more stuff like that, I think it would get more people into the game. And then also like those folks that are like, oh man, I just want to like mess around with this model and like practice a paint scheme. Like
Mm-hmm.
say you're getting into, cities or something like that, and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I want to paint this blackguard. I don't want to paint it wrong. I don't want to paint it incorrect.
Yeah. No, I that's the thing. I kind of talked about a little bit on my last stream where it's just like it seems to be the trend that game companies they have their main games and they're coming out with these little side things that are great opportunities to like unveil or supplement the line without having to do like full big releases. I'm just like, man, use it for that. That would draw people in so heavily.
Oh, actually, that would be fantastic. I really, I mean, as cool as it is when they're like, okay, here's a brand new army. Here's Bone Reapers. Here's Pointy Elves. Whatever. It's also great when they're like, here's this cool llama that you can use in Warcry.
Yeah.
When at least it's like, all right, cool. Here's Ermagerd Hermadern. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
I
That
was
guy.
I was so hoping the rules for the llama are gonna be just like gangbusters broken, like where it's like ridiculous, because then we can have the drama llama cycle and we can all complain about how good the llama is, and I'm like, that'd be so fun.
That would be great.
Like let's
Also, it's probably going to be a $40 model, which is kind of disappointing.
yeah.
But it's BW.
So is
I
the
mean,
Ermagerd Thaumaturge.
yeah, I know. When I bought him, so it's like whatever. I'm a glutton for pain. And like you said earlier, it's like I'm gonna make a battle report with him, So it's like I have to get him.
Oh yeah,
Someone's gonna. Where's your
gots to.
It's like I don't know one.
Let's see. Ailey asks, how many models is your Nurgle army? I haven't actually built like a 2-day list to go to an event, which actually I need to do because I'm going to one next weekend, I think. But right now I have. So the bulk of the army is like just a lot of Puscoil Blight Kings or Blight Lords, and I have 2, 4. So I have 8 Puscoil Blight Lords, 1 Lord of Afflictions. That's all the flyer dudes, and that's like 1,200 or 1,400 points, something like that. And the rest is just stuffed with a few Blight Kings, so it ends up being like, I think it's like 30 models maybe, which is glorious. 30 models as an army is glorious. Are you still there, sir?
Yeah, I'm still there. I was gonna comment and then I read something. I that's why I got into ogres too, because it's like I don't have it all painted right now, but I have probably 1750 points wise, and I have like just over 30 models. It's like This is amazing.
Yeah, it is the opposite of my Skaven, which was soul crushing.
Yeah, I have Clan Pestilence right now, and it's sad when you're like, I need to buy 40 more Plague Monks to get to 1,500 points. It's like, all right, and then I'll be up to 100. And you're like, 100 little rats? I mean, don't get me wrong. It looks amazing on the board when you set it all up and you just like push this squad of 40 forward and it's intimidating. But also, it's a pain in the butt to paint all that stuff. So
that's the thing. Like I had to have this self, come to Jesus with myself.
There you go.
And I was like, I love Horde armies. I think they look incredible on the table when they're all fully painted, and they're just amazing. And that's like, if you have followed the armies that I've done, I traditionally lean towards Horde style stuff, not because they're
Skaven.
Yeah, and not because they're the best in the game. I mean, they're really good for objectives and that kind of stuff, but purely because I think they look awesome. But the problem is, I set them up. I get that swell of pride as I look at all of my painted gore and that kind of stuff. And then I go, okay, movement phase, turn 1.
Yeah.
And immediately hate everything about what I spent the last 100 hours painting. So,
you're pulling them off the board like nobody's business.
Yep, and then they're getting killed super easy, and so I feel like I spend more time taking models off the table than I am playing with them. It's like,
Hello from my Moon Clan Grats, yep. King Bread, how many Grats do you have? 200? 500?
And how many more are you planning to buy?
Actually, that's probably more of a better question to ask.
Yep. It's probably some GW statistician just watching right now being like, yeah, King Bread. let's check out those sales figures. But here's the thing. No matter what he answers, there you can just insert the Matthew McConaughey, like, those are rookie numbers in this racket,
Exactly, yeah.
There's no number to which, he said 120. Like, there's no number that is not a rookie number when it comes to Moon Clan.
King Bread, just watch Goobertown's paint 100 Grats video.
Yeah.
And then just do that.
Oh my gosh. I love Goobertown videos. Have you watched them?
Oh yeah, Brent's great. He makes fantastic content.
Yep.
I feel like a majority of us YouTuber folks, I feel weird saying that, really weird saying that. Like, all of us watch the same exact content and know all the same people. Whether we've talked to them or not is totally a different thing, but
yep.
160 Moon Clan. Whew.
I can paint them and I'll have a blast, but I can't play a game with them. I'll just go insane. Nope.
Mega Catch. His Slaves to Darkness 24-hour video is great.
Let's see. What are you using for basing? This is Citadel Sterling Battlemire, which is not actually. I tended to get Sterling Mud or whatever it is, because that one goes on a lot smoother, but I grabbed the wrong one by accident.
Doug, do you always use GW basing material?
99% of the time, yes. The Nurgle army, I wanted to do something special, so I actually went to Green Stuff World and got the rollers. Yeah. But that's the only army I've ever done that, and it will only be the only army I've ever done that because it is soul crushing.
Did you roll it with green stuff? Because I actually self plug in mid February. I have a rolling pin video with clay that I was doing. Actually, here, while you chat, I'm gonna get the model.
Cool. Yeah, so I did use green stuff, and I'll show you all what happened when I tried using Milliput. Yeah, I got this sweet hunk of crap on my board that stayed there for several weeks, and so during the chat, people were like, "It's too bright," so I painted 2+ on it. Because this is amazing. So I rolled it out so you can see the wood texture, and then I was like, "Oh, it's not coming up." And this is me desperately trying to like pry the crap off the board. So
that's hilarious. Well, now you got to keep that forever. Now this is I did like I don't know how well this is going to show up.
Oh, looks great. I can see it. Yeah.
But that's what I got. So I did like a kind of like the Cthulhu rolling pin. But obviously it'll look a little bit nicer in the video. But
for sure.
That stuff, those things are great. But yeah, you're right. It can be a pain, a big pain. But
yeah. Sam, what do you think of the crackle paints like Agrellan Earth? I don't particularly care for them. I mean, that's just an aesthetic choice of mine. Part of it is like the cracked earth thing. I think sometimes it's over. Like I don't want every single model to have cracked earth necessarily. And the other thing is, practically speaking, if you want the bigger cracks, which is kind of what I like I want the ground to be like coming apart at the seams kind of thing, you have to put a lot more of that stuff on. And across an army, you'll just go through tons of that stuff. Like it's a lot. So yeah, I mean, some cool stuff I've seen is like, the Glotkin has a huge base, or Arcan have a huge base. So they'll do like puddles of weird stuff in the ground coming around, and that looks sweet. But to cross a whole army, that sounds not so great.
I've been doing that with my Iron Jaws, but to be honest, I don't care what the color is because I'm priming over it anyways.
Yeah.
Because I just find like the colors are great that they have for those cracked earth stuff, like the Martian one and the just standard earth one. But it's like I'm going to dry brush it once, and then all the stuff's going to fall off. It's just going to chip right off.
I've had pretty good luck with it not chipping off. We'll see.
You and me are different, Doug.
Let's see. Buy Crackle from Vallejo. Get a huge pot.
Yeah, and probably for like 4 cents too, compared to GW.
Now the Crackle stuff, King Bread. Well, I got you, and you're being active. Is it? So I'm assuming it's like white or something like that, and so you would do that and then prime the model and paint it all. Even if you just do the base by itself, I suppose. But that kind of stuff, is that correct, or is there a way to like add color to it? Armageddon Dust is awesome. I'm trying to think. Yeah, these are the ones I mostly use. But I like the mud one because it still retains kind of that nasty. You can kind of sculpt it, so like I did sort of like a tread track towards the back of her bike. And then I got some tufts, mountain tufts to add. I don't know.
Tufts? Army painter tufts are great.
Yeah, I like them quite a bit. I like the range of sizes they give you. Yeah, they just.
I will say for all my Warcry models, at least the chaos-based warband ones, I just use the whatever earth or the stone. I can't think what it's called. It's behind me somewhere. I don't remember. And it looks fine. You just dry brush over it. And,
Thank you, King Bread. Yeah, you just prime it. Okay. Sweet. Do you have anything else you want to touch on today, Donnie?
I don't know. Not really. I feel like we talked about 10% Warcry, and then. But I think people know what to expect. At this point.
Here's the thing, right? People call me lore master, which I don't really like because a lot of times I'm wrong. A lot of times I forget stuff. Well, actually, most of the stuff I talk about I forget immediately after I do a video on it. But people tune in because I put all my points in charisma. And so it doesn't really matter. You know, we'll hang out. We had some good chat. We answered some questions for people while we hung out and did some hobby. Hope everybody had a good time. Yeah. I mean, it was all Warcry adjacent. We talked skirmish games. We talked some painting stuff, AOS armies that translate. Yeah. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine.
I'm happy. And I'd be happy to do this again, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let's do it. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Let me go back to my camera facing me so I can say goodbye. Turn that off so it's not blinding everybody. Sweet. All right. So thank you all so much for joining us. And Donnie, again, go check out Dice Chatter. I have the link in the description below. Refresh your page. If it's not there, it'll pop up for you. And thank you so much for joining me, dude.
Thanks, Doug. It was a pleasure. And we should do this again.
Yeah.